Hi guys, today I will show you how I use the Blender add-on Ucupaint to paint a stylized male base body texture and set it up for rigging and rendering. In this video, I will share my workflow with Ucupaint, so you can start quickly and follow along step by step. First, we need to install the add-on. Click Edit and go to Preferences. Open Get Extensions. Search for Ucupaint in the search bar. Then click Install. Before we start, I will explain the basic logic of this add-on, and also the preparation I usually do before using it, so beginners can understand clearly and get started more smoothly. Select your model, and in the side panel open Ucupaint. Click Quick Node Setup, keep the default settings, and press OK. This will create a material ready for painting. When the material is created, you will see two main sections: Channels and Layers. Texture painting is done inside Layers. Click the plus button in Layers, choose Solid Color, pick a color, and confirm. This is similar to a fill layer in Substance Painter, and it is best used together with a mask. Click here anytime to change the color of the solid color layer. Next, click the plus button in Layers again, and choose New Image. Here you can set the resolution of the new layer, keep other options as default, and press OK. This will create an empty layer. Switch to Texture Paint mode, select a color, and start painting. Under each layer, you can adjust its settings. For example, expand the channel section to enable roughness, metallic, or normal. Click the wrench icon next to color to add a modifier to the base color, such as hue and saturation. If you no longer need it, click the gear icon and choose Remove Modifier. Next to Channel, you can also change the blend mode of the layer. To add a mask, click the plus button next to Mask and choose New Image. Again, set the resolution, choose black for the mask color, keep the rest default, and press OK. Switch the color to white and paint the shape of the mask. At the bottom of Layers, there is Preview mode. Set the layer to Alpha, then click Preview mode to display the mask clearly while painting. Press X to switch between foreground and background colors. Click the plus button in Layers, and you can also directly add a solid color layer with a mask. After finishing your texture painting in Ucupaint, click the Node Settings button at the top and choose Bake All Channels to bake all textures. Or, under Channels, you can open the settings and bake only the selected texture. In the Bake options, choose the resolution, select the bake device, keep other settings default, and press OK. Finally, click Save to save the textures to your computer. If you want to continue editing, click Use Baked to return to the layers. Make more changes and bake again. Before painting, I switch to Material Preview mode. Then I click Shading, right-click on Render Pass, and set a shortcut key Ctrl-Shift-Alt-Q. Now I can use the shortcut to switch quickly between Material mode, Base Color mode, and other display mode. Before painting, there is one more setting. By default, Blender uses the Circle Color Picker. Go to Edit Preferences. Open Interface. Change Color Picker Type to Square, SV+H. Now when you right-click to pick a color, the picker looks like Photoshop. To make painting more efficient, I also set shortcuts for the brushes. In Texture Paint mode, select the brush, right-click, and choose Assign Shortcut. Then press the key you want to use as the shortcut. For brushes, I set the number keys 2 to 7 on the keyboard. The number 1 key is already used for toggling paint mask, so it is better not to change it. Next, I will use this male character as an example to explain my painting workflow. Select the model, open the Ucupaint panel on the sidebar, and click Quick Ucupaint Node Setup to create the material. Click the plus button to add a new layer group. Rename the group to Body. I separate the body, eyeballs, eyelashes, teeth, and other parts into individual groups. Grouping makes it easier to adjust textures and prevents painting from affecting other parts. Select the body group. Next to mask, click the plus button to add a new mask. Set the color to black and confirm. Then add a solid color layer and choose any color, and click OK. Select the body group mask icon. Switch the model to edit mode and select all the faces of the body skin. Then return to texture paint mode. Press the number 1 key to enable paint mask. This hides all unselected faces. Choose the fill tool. Change the foreground color to white and fill the body skin mesh with the mask. Now we have a separate body skin group. Adding new layers inside this group will not affect other parts. Use the same method for the other parts, and give each part its own group mask. Select the body's solid color layer, expand channel, enable normal map, expand normal, click source, choose custom data, and use open image to import the baked high poly normal map. Then press Shift Ctrl Alt Q to enter diffuse color mode and start painting. First, set a base skin color. Then add another solid color layer and choose a darker color for the skin shadows. Add a fake lighting mask to this shadow layer, keep default settings, and press OK. Click the gear icon and add an invert to the fake lighting. Now the overall volume of the character is visible. Add a ramp to the fake lighting to control the shadow range. Select the shadow layer, click the collapse arrow, and click duplicate layer to make a copy. This adds another level of shadow, making the shading richer. Adjust the ramp and light direction to find the right look. Then expand channel, open color, and lower the opacity. Next, add a mask to the first shadow layer. Set the color to white and erase areas that should not be in shadow. Before erasing, I created an open mouth shape key, so I can paint the inside of the mouth when needed. After simple erasing, I give the hair a base color. Next, I will start painting the eyes. Create a new pupil group, and inside it add a base pupil color layer, using a dark color as the base. Then add a new mask to the pupil group, choose 4K resolution, set the mask color to black, and click OK. Switch to texture paint mode, set the foreground color to white, and paint the area for the pupil size. On top of the pupil base color, add a new empty layer. Right-click to pick a lighter blue color, and add details to the iris. After finishing the pupil, add a new empty layer above the pupil group. Change the blend mode to multiply, click OK. Right-click to pick a darker color, and paint the shadow of the eyeball. If facial animation is needed, this shadow layer can be skipped and created with other methods instead. Next, create a new lip group and add an empty layer inside it. Right-click to pick a color, and paint the lip area with a base tone. After defining the lip area, add another empty layer above the lip group. Now I begin refining the face. I start around the eyes, and since this is a male character, I avoid heavy makeup. I only add a bit of shadow under the brow and around the eyelids, to make the eye structure more defined. Then I choose a darker color to paint shadows on both sides of the nose, to make the nose look more three-dimensional. I also make the shadow under the nose more noticeable. Next, enter Edit mode and use Shift-H to isolate the model. Then return to Texture Paint mode, paint the inner eye color, and press Shift-X to use the color picker for adjustments around the eyes. Finally, choose a lighter color to brighten the brow ridge and the skin under the inner eye corners, which makes the eye area look more refined. Here I often use the smear brush to blend, making the transition between highlights and skin color more natural. At the same time, I brighten the philtrum area. Enter Edit mode, press Alt-H to reveal all hidden models. The hair color looks too dark, so I make it a bit lighter for easier observation. Next, I choose a darker color to shade both sides of the cheeks, so the face looks more three-dimensional even in unlit mode. Then I use the smear brush again to smooth the transitions evenly. Hide the hair mesh, and darken the top of the head. I also fix other areas where the colors transition unnaturally. Then I use a dark red to define the ear rim structure, and add a brighter red inside the ear to create an SSS effect. Finally, I use a dark color to outline the wings of the nose, so the nose shape looks more pronounced. Next, I refine the face texture. I want the character to look simple in any mode, so I did not add too many facial structure details. I add some highlights to make the texture look more delicate, and place highlights on the nose to emphasize its shape. Now I start painting the body. First, create a new empty layer for the body. I use a darker color to sketch the muscle structure. At the beginning, I avoid using colors that are too dark. The colors can gradually be built up and refined, so the texture will not look metallic, and it will be easier to control. When painting, I adjust the light direction in the shading panel to clearly see the high poly structure. I want this character to look good even in unlit mode, so most of the time I paint in diffuse color. For the body, I focus mainly on large masses, and I avoid over-detailing that could break the overall form. Here I brighten the pectoral muscles and the deltoids with lighter tones, especially on the body areas. If any detail looks too distracting, I soften it, and if any part stands out too much, I tone it down. Here I create a new empty layer, and use a dark brown color to add some comic style lines. I mark areas such as the elbow joints, palm wrinkles, leg muscles, and nails. I also add soft vignette shadows to strengthen the form. These lines should not be pure black. Keeping them slightly transparent helps blend with the base color. The purpose is not to outline everything, but to guide the viewer's eye and emphasize key structures. This makes the texture more stylized and readable, even from a distance. Here the highlight areas on the body look a bit too strong. So under the body layer, I click the wrench icon, choose RGB curve, and pull down the curve of the highlight. This makes the colors look softer and more natural. Next, in the eyebrow group, I create a new empty layer. I isolate the eyelash model, and with a lighter color, I brighten the area under the lashes and around the eye corners. Using more than one tone makes the eyelashes look more natural than using a single flat color. Next, in the pants group, I create a new empty layer. I add some light and shadow to the shorts. When painting the highlight areas, I follow the light and shadow of the body structure. This gives the shorts a tighter, more fitted look. I also darken the stitching lines, so the shorts have more detail and realism. Create a new empty layer to paint the nail color. The nails should not be too white. They only need to be subtle enough so they are not too obvious from a distance. Next, we start painting the hair. First, select the base color layer of the hair. Expand the channel section under the layer, enable normal, click source, choose custom data, and use open image to import the baked high poly normal map. Then add a solid color layer, choose a darker color for the shadows. Add a mask to this dark layer, select fake lighting, keep default and press OK. Enable preview mode, change the layer view to alpha. Add and invert to the dark layer, then add a ramp on top of it. Adjust the ramp range and light direction, so that most of the shadows fall toward the lower side. Next, create a new solid color layer. Add a curve texture to this layer. Here I use a curve texture that I baked earlier. Enable preview mode to display this mask. Then add a ramp to control the mask's range. This creates an outline-like effect on the hair edges. Continue by creating another solid color layer. Pick a brighter color, confirm it, and add a black mask to this layer. Now begin painting the hair highlights. To make the highlights look natural from any angle, I paint a highlight ring around the upper 1/3 of the hair. I use a harder brush to draw random highlights, then blend them softly with the smear brush, so the highlights do not look too harsh. Next, select the body model and enable wireframe. In the Overlays panel, lower the wireframe opacity. Along the low poly wireframe, use a lighter color to highlight the 4 edges of the fingers. I want the fingers to look more stylized, like in comics, not cylinders but cubes. Then I correct unnatural transitions on the body with the smear brush. Using a slightly lighter color, I add some subtle wrinkle effects to the short. Next, we create a new empty layer, set it to 4K and click OK. Expand the channel, change the blend mode of the color to multiply, and lower the opacity. Choose a dark red tone to paint additional shadows, mainly under the chin and where the hair casts shadows. This layer ensures the character still looks natural in unlit mode or in games where extra light sources are limited. For animation or film, this layer can be optional depending on the needs. Then create a new solid color layer. Expand the channel, set the blend mode to multiply again, and add an image mask. Here I use a pre-baked AO map. Invert the AO mask and add a ramp to adjust its range. Next to the mask, click the plus button, choose New Image Mask, set the color to white and click OK. Now add this new mask layer to the AO, press X to switch the foreground color to black, and erase the areas where AO is not needed. After that, I create a separate shadow layer for the nose. For this layer, I use a lighter tone so the shadow is subtle. It doesn't need to be too strong, just a hint is enough. Finally, I want the skin to look slightly more reddish. So I select the body group, and add a hue/saturation adjustment. Select the model and switch to edit mode. Choose the teeth and tongue mesh, press Shift-H to isolate them. Press L to select the mesh, then in the bottom left menu change the selection mode to UV. Select all the teeth, and create a white solid color layer. Add a black mask to this layer. Switch back to texture paint mode, press 1 to enable paint mask. Set the foreground color to white, and use the fill tool to fill the teeth. Then use a brush to refine the edges of the teeth area. Next, assign a separate color to the tongue, so it is clearly different from the gums. Create a new empty layer and add details to the gums. Finally, enable the open mouth shape key for easier painting inside the mouth. Hide the teeth mesh. Create a new solid color layer. Add a black mask. Enter edit mode, hide the tongue, press L to select the mouth interior faces. Change the selection mode to UV. Return to texture paint mode. Press 1 to enable paint mask. Set the foreground color to white. Use the fill tool to fill the teeth area. Some stains remain from the AO layer. Switch to the AO layer, use its mask. Erase the dirty areas, keep the surface clean. Create a new layer. Paint a thin edge line at the border between lips and mouth interior. In neutral expressions, this gives a comic-style mouth line. This layer is optional. Create another empty layer. Add light comic lines on the ears. Enhance detail, keep the strokes subtle. Create one more empty layer, paint the earrings. For a consistent style, hand paint the metal look instead of using PBR. In shading, increase the environment light intensity a bit. This helps when painting darker tones. Then add some comic line textures on the hair for extra style. Okay, this is the clean base color texture workflow for this base character. You can download the character from the link below. The Blender file keeps the Ucupaint layer history, so you can edit it anytime. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. That way you will not miss the next episode. In the next video, I will continue with this character, and show how I paint tattoos, set up rigging, and render. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye.